Hi.
Hi, Chloe. The Addams Family is very exciting because it has this big cultural background and we all have a connection. And I know this is the second time you're playing Wednesday Addams, but I want to know what was your history with the Addams Family and how did that lead into you approaching Wednesday as a character?
Yeah, I definitely grew up with the 90s movies. Christina Ricci was my Wednesday, and I connected to her so much on so many levels growing up with her Wednesday Addams. And so because of that, I really wanted to go opposite of that in a lot of ways and try to not copy her intonation and try to not copy her version of Wednesday Addams. I really wanted to try and have my own take on it, and really collaborate with Conrad, the director, and figure out who our Wednesday is. Obviously, also in relation to, this version of Gomez and this version of Morticia and Pugsley. So it was a really fun thing to be able to navigate that and figure out what that looked like. And I think now in the second movie, we really had the opportunity to figure that out. And with this amount of storyline that they gave Wednesday in this one, we really got to sink our teeth in and see who she is. What is Wednesday like in these circumstances?
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because we have characters like Wednesday, and I always think of Lydia Dietz too from Beetlejuice, and like these
Yeah.
darker characters that are very complicated. And so, as an actor, what is appealing or like what's fun about playing those kind of characters where you think they're one way, but they're really not when you actually get into them?
I mean, it's been so fun. I think growing up and coming of age as a person and as an actor, I've always really been in love with characters like that. From Abby and Let Me In to Carrie, to Cameron and Miseducation of Cameron Post. Kind of always been interested in those characters that are a little bit more on their own and do change with the story and grow in their own way. That's opposite of what you might imagine or what you might expect. Um, and so yeah, I've always felt like I've really, seen myself in that in those characters. So it's always been a lot of fun, and especially with Wednesday Addams to do it in a way that's family friendly and that can be obtained by so many young kids who are figuring out who they are. It's a wonderful, wonderful representation, I think, and I'm really excited for more and more young people to be able to watch these stories.
Yeah, and I always like to ask, especially with this because it is the sequel, and everyone was so excited about the first one because it was Oscar Isaac as Gomez Adams, as everyone wanted for years. But what do you hope audiences get to take away from the Adams Family too?
You know, I hope in this story they really get to take away a few different things. I think one thing that I really loved watching this story is we got to really be inside their lives with them, on a really cinematic, intimate level, I think, with the characters, which was really fun to see them in almost a day-to-day basis. We're really following them on this road trip and seeing the way they interact as a family. And I think one thing that I really loved was the idea of chosen family. In the end of the story, um, obviously we have this question of whether or not she's actually an Addams. And, at the end of the day, she chooses to be an Addams, whether or not she's an Addams or not, and I think that's something that is a really beautiful ideal to have in a story, and especially in a kid's film, where it doesn't matter if you're blood related, your family is who you choose to be your family and who you connect to on that level. And I hope that people take that away from the story.
Yeah, and it is very interesting looking at your career because you've done voiceover before and you've done live action. Is it more of a challenge to approach those kind of themes in a voiceover performance, or do you think it lends itself to helping tell those kind of stories?
Yeah, for sure. I think, with animation, it's always a little bit harder, because you really have to figure out how to express these certain things through vocality. And you're talking about through vocality with a character that isn't very vocal, with a character that isn't surprised by things, that says things in a very similar monotone way. And we had to navigate that with figuring out her sentimentality and what it looks like when she's surprised, what it looks like when she's really aghast with something. And it was fun. It was hard and it was fun. And yeah, I felt really lucky to have the opportunity to have the storyline in this one.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for audiences to get to see it. But that's my time. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. I really enjoyed talking to you.